Fellas, I know the dating pool is kind of weird, right? Full of gold diggers and women that just want to take from you. I have a solution for you. There is something that is new on the market. That means the dating market, that is. And that is called a sex robot. Give it a chance. Remember, no judgments here, okay? This is my little mini docuseries that we're going to be doing pertaining to things we consider odd or different thoughts or patterns. Sorry, guys, let's brush my teeth. Or different thought patterns, okay? And this in particular, these clips that I want you guys to kind of view them with an open heart. I'm not saying open yourself to perversion and be weird. No, just kind of look at it a little bit. Look a little deeper. Look closer. Like Rafiki said in Lion King. Okay. So we have sex dolls, right? Back in the day, they used to have like the blow up doll light, right? And then you also have sex robots that they're creating now to be a form of an alternative, like a companion to a lot of men, okay? And a lot of these men are single men. They're divorced and then even married, okay? Where the wives are starting to figure out like, how do I kind of factor this into my relationship? This type of thing, right? So it's like different changes in psychology, obviously, and different changing of the norms, right? So you're like, why do we need to know all of this? You're just looking at weird documentaries. You know, that's true. I do like weird documentaries. But the reason you need to know this is because the world is changing around you. If you have children, if you have grandchildren, heck, if you have great-grandchildren, you want to be able to understand their conversations they're talking about, from furries to, which I didn't know what that was until like 3 years ago, to some kids identify as being mythical creatures, you know, that type of stuff, right? And then also as they start to get older and, you know, teenage years, this sex robot thing is becoming like a norm. It's a norm. And they started it out with being a norm in that games, The Sims. Remember, you could kind of create like your own make-believe life, and you can eat whatever you wanted to eat, and you could kind of have your couch over here and be the interior designer of your own life. So it started to kind of, you know, program us to be able to think that we can program false realities for ourselves. And the problem now is with us now we have Meta and now we have VR. So, and we enjoy those worlds and things of that nature. They are interesting, right? And I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm just saying. I'm very animated when I talk. So if you're offended, my apologies. I'm not trying to offend nobody. And I dang or sure ain't judging nobody because I ain't perfect. Why do I keep saying that? Because, you know, there's a narrative out there. You understand? So I like to combat the narrative with my truth. All right, back to scheduled programming. But we want to be able to kind of understand it. So we're now creating a false reality, a false narrative, false character, you being the false character, that is normal. And to some of those like 80s babies and myself, I'm gonna say on up. Cause like it seems like my son and my teenager and all of them, they kind of used to it. It's normal to them. So I have to make sure, you know, I want to be the cool mom, like in the know. Like I'm used to it too. Yeah, I'm hip to that, right? And when I don't know, I said, you know, let me research this and look at this up a little bit because it's interesting to me, right? I like to watch people, the anthropology, the study of people, how things kind of, you know, evolve and change and stuff like that, right? So this is normal. It's not, and then social media, you know, making up stuff, you're not who you're supposed to be. They post things. They still certain, you know, narrative. They still identity. They still post. And it's to create this public persona, right? Like on their right-hand side, to create this public persona of who they are. Right? And so we have gotten used to that. That's normal. And the problem is now it's so deep that this public persona, who people consider themselves to be, has become their truth. That's their reality. Even if you can see that's not the reality. And that has went into sex. So when it comes to the sex dolls, now the men want sex robots. They want her to talk to them. They want, you know, fake orgasms, you know, where water and liquid come out down there. They want to create... Sorry, my bird is tripping. They want to be able to create this whole, you know, you're going to see in these clips, you know, they're taking photos with the sex dolls. They have names for them. They have wardrobes. They dress in them. They're bathing with them. And this is creating for men. And I hate to say some women, feminists, which I'm not, they think that it kind of shows men to be one-dimensional. And, you know, that's all they need is something to look like it and they'll pretend it is. But also it kind of shows that when we think men lack imagination, they actually do, because they're creating a whole reality around these dolls. They're projecting upon these dolls the things that they want and what they want in a woman. And a lot of it is that they want to care for the woman. Okay, so that's why I've said I want you. It's going to be kind of funny. You're going to laugh a little. Oh, my God. But kind of look beyond that, kind of look. what sense of lonesomeness, right? And it's not to shame anybody like you're lonely and no, that's nothing. You know, I've been shamed in that area so many times it ain't even funny, especially by men who actually are interested in me, but they're kind of scared to talk to me. So you're lonesome and you think you a 10 and you know, they feel like they got to knock you down a notch. Those ain't the men we want. And specifically for those men, a sex robot might be best for you because you could program it to say whatever you want it to say. And then she could fake an orgasm that you didn't give her. All right, so anyways, so that's just that was being a little, okay, I was being a little petty, you know what I mean? I repent. Anyways, so I want you guys to take a look at these clips. Just take a look at them. And this is not just, this is just around the world. No, this is here in America, okay? They have, and that's not just a Caucasian man. They have black men, which I might find that clip somewhere and do a part 2 or part 3, where they have a black man that has about 4 of them. He said he got 4 wives. His friends are like, yeah, and it was 4 of the dolls, okay? So it kind of can show you that they have a sense of lonesomeness. They want to feel like they're taking care of a woman. The woman in some proportions is shorter or smaller than them. They don't feel like they have to, what's the word? You know, be taken advantage of. You know what I mean? They don't feel like they have to prove themselves to the woman, because that seems to be a very big thing. Hold on.
Humanoid robots for centuries. Now, as the prospect of living with robots comes ever nearer, we're beginning to wonder just how close human and machine might get.
I would love to have sex with a robot. It would probably be better than sex with a human.
Advancements in artificial intelligence and robotics have led some to try to turn robotic dreams into reality.
We want there to be an interest level that goes far beyond sex.
You looking at me?
To create that bond between human and machine.
But could a new generation of robotic lovers endanger human relationships?
There are people who say that this is misogynistic.
It's not to demean women, it is more an appreciation of their physical beauty, not unlike the real thing.
Oh, righto.
This is Bob Gibbons. This is his wife, Lizzie, and they have the largest love doll collection in the world.
We have over 240 love dolls. That includes the blow-up variety as well as the solid dolls and the silicone ones.
These silicone dolls are also known as sex dolls, and they're part of the estimated $15 billion sex toy industry. A majority of people buy love dolls for sex, but that's not the case with Bob.
For me, it's purely a collection. I've never made love or had sex with a doll at all. That's not what I do. I buy the dolls because I collect dolls. That's my thing.
These silicone dolls can cost upwards of $4,500 new. That
Currently, I'm living with my parents. It's a little embarrassing. I think there is definitely, my father finds really difficult 99.9% of her time in my room. Yo. All right. Woohoo, we have the place to ourselves. This is probably a good gauge of when I'm happy. Being really alone, but with her, you know, is a good sense of happiness. A good, solid, happy time would be like when I'd be in bed with her, not actually having sex, but just like lying next to her and appreciating her, especially like in the really early daylight, just being able to see her, you know, looking at me, regarding me, that sort of thing, and me doing the same back. It's the difference between being alone and lonely. Being alone is one thing. I don't mind being alone at all. However, I cannot stand being lonely, and it's just that's something that more people, I would hope, would understand. That's why idolaters have their dolls. Kissing her is really interesting because This is the one thing that I really like about like real dolls as opposed to a lot of the Japanese dolls, with the exception of a couple. Basically, real dolls have mouths that open, and this tends to freak people out when they first see it. But she actually has a removable tongue. This is one of 3 tongues that Shi-chan actually has. There's another one that's curved. I can't even remember why I have that one, but the one she originally came with when she was shipped in 2000 was straight, and it didn't have like as much detail. It's actually redder, but they're kind of fun.
Seems to be a very big, fear for men is that they have to prove themselves to the woman, even sexually, right? Because those are the basic needs. Like, I think of everybody, but men really like that. So, like, sexually, and then they don't have to, like, try to, look, I got this and I got that. Basically, they don't have to prove themselves. And so they want to care for women. They want sexual fulfillment. They want a partner that's sitting there looking visually pleasing to them how they want it. So they have like a God type of thing where make me a sex doll with big tits or a small, small feet, whatever they like. She has permanent makeup on. So she hasn't, like I woke up like, you know what I mean? She hasn't, like, this is me in the middle of the day with the kids after they got on my nerves, right? She don't have that type of look. So it's visually pleasing to them, right? Even if it's like a false sense, which it is. It's like a Sims game. It's like it's a false sense of reality. But remember, they're indulging in it so much, it's become real to them. And now people's false senses of reality is even manifested in the form of these sex dolls in their sexual life and then these sexual robots. This has become very real to them, to the point where they're looking at you now, because now we have all of these people walking around and created these Sims life, these false realities. And you can kind of see that's not really what it is. That thing ain't alive, right? It's a sex doll. You'll see some of the men, they're so engrossed in it. They've created personalities for the woman, for the sex dolls, and they really, really enjoy it. So they're looking at you like, yeah, this is what's wrong with you, right? And it's almost like in a hostile type of way. Like, don't you bust my bubble of my delusion, right? So now we're in an age of delusion where people just want to be delusional. They'll even want to be delusional towards you. That's another story for another day. Like, they want to believe however I think about you, according to my insecurities, that is the truth. And you're like, no, that's not the truth. No, it is the truth. And it will go to great lengths to prove what they've created in this Sims reality, of this false reality in their mind, is true about you. So now and you can think, remember, we said don't take it personal. You could look in areas of need, the Maslow hierarchies of needs, the creating to want to belong, our food needs and things of that nature. There are things that we need as a human being. They create illusions on all of those areas, and they attract people and things. Remember, we started out with objectophilia, where they could be attracted to objects, right? Okay. So they're attracted to objects, okay? No shade. Maybe they feel closer to objects than they do to people. Maybe people hurt them. I'm just trying to look deeper. And then now we're going into the sex doll and sex robot, right? That's my doll. Peekaboo. My doll. Oh my God. That's my bird. Okay, my bird. All right, anyways, he thinks I'm talking to him. So now we're going into the sex robot type of thing where this is fulfilling my needs. It looks the way I want it to look, and this is mine. So now we're going from we're morphing objectophilia into possession and godlike status, right? And that's very intoxicating to especially men. There a lot of them are ran by ego. Women are too. They attract women that are ran by ego, but they pretend to be submissive so they can attract a man that's already in their ego, and then they're actually a covert and an overt narcissist, like coupling. You know what I mean? So I just want you guys to look at this thing. I mean, you see, I'm like, girl, you're reading too much into it, but it's really that deep, because when you begin to look at that, people are becoming more attracted to their objects. It might not just be in a sexual sense. It might be like, don't touch my stuff, that type of thing. Don't touch my computer, that type of thing. And then they're creating these, they could look at porn anytime they want to. They could look at sex doll. They could get a sex doll. They could get a sex robot. They could do anything they want to do, right? They got hookup, Tinder, whoop, Jack, I'm on it. You know what I mean? So now you're wondering what happened to the dating scene. It's because they look at you as an object. You are not a person. You don't have no feelings. You're not embarrassed. That wouldn't humiliate you, because this is pleasing me in my Sims reality. What's wrong with you? And now here comes, because you're coming to your truth or your opinion about whatever experiences is affecting their illusions. Remember I said people like that pad lies. They pad it around themselves. This is great. It's fun, right? Type of thing. And so this is interesting. We basically taking baby steps. We going from objectophilia to sex styles and sex robots. Because, you know, I hate to say it, this is the future. This is what's happening now. That false reality of objectophilia and of sex styles and sex robots, or women who actually pattern themselves in that way. Not coming against nobody, who pattern themselves as to be a sex robot, whatever you say, kind of like so it's very interesting. I just want you guys to take a look at this. Okay, I'm not gonna do too much talking, but just take a look at the clips to kind of see. Okay, this is explains a lot, right? Peel back the layers. And you can see maybe, you know, even though you're a human being, someone may have adectophilia. They may like the power they have, like they have a sex robot and a, you know, sex style. They look at you like that. You don't have no feelings, you don't have no emotions, you don't have no responsibilities. In their mind, they're not looking at you as a human being. Even though reality could show you may have children, you got children to take care of, you know, you have a body that had children, you know what I mean? You may be working on, oh my God, guys, if I don't stop, I'm sorry, I got big breasts, I'll be wasting I'm about to take this off. Look at this. Well, not, whatever. Anyways, you may have, you know, children, you have a job, you may have other responsibilities outside of them that they don't take up you're not just sitting in the box waiting for them to pump on you, and they can't, you'll begin to see, they go so deep into the delusion, they can't see you in that way. Again, we're not making excuses. It's helping you to understand how odd, like, what? They don't understand it about themselves because in their world they become these type of gods in their own eyes. So if you have to be with a real woman, you don't have to care about her needs and her wants. I just can have a sex doll over here, and what do you mean? I just go to work. All right, so I want you guys to take a look at this, at these clips. So I know I keep saying it because I keep having to stop because my bird is getting loud. But, you know, that way you can kind of understand, like, that's all you talk about is, like, I was talking to this guy, that's all you talk about is, like, certain things. Or, you know, he doesn't seem like he has a comprehensive knowledge of time or another person's existence. Right? So if I'm a woman and I want to take advantage of a man, I'm going to look at them and see, oh, okay, he likes, you know, objects. And that means, you know, that can go off into like my cars and my stuff like that, you know, what they call materialism. He's materialistic. And, oh, okay, he got a little sex doll. He a little freak. Okay, I can get him in. And what they would do is they pattern themselves after that. I will pad myself with materialistic things and objects that's shiny and cute. Look at the new iPhone or whatever. Look at my boobs. I'm going to be like a sex doll or robot. And then I put my hooks into you. Then I'm going to play into your false reality. And they look at that now as submission. And that's a real woman. And it could be destroying them. And that's what it means by kings don't give your strength to women. Because that's your perception is your strength as a man. How you a visionary and you can't see reality? You know that you ain't treating that woman right over there. You know you're treating her like she a robot. So this could go into many aspects. You know you're avoiding your sense of responsibility, right? Oh, instead of admitting that you have a lonesomeness, this is your way of feeling you control. So it's very interesting to kind of look at these dynamics, even with the men. I'm not judging the men in these documentaries. Again, I'm just giving you different aspects, different vantage points of certain things, and to kind of open up the scope to let you know this is how people actually be looking at you, and they just won't tell you. People who are in reality, not a Sims created reality, like a visual VR. You're walking around VR like, wow, look at my magnificent mansion. And they like, dog, you stay in the like hood on 7 Mile. What you mean? Right? All right, so I want you guys to make sure that you just take a look at these clips. No judgments. We seek to understand. Peace.
I know that Sarah is manufactured from steel and TPE plastic, but when I look at her, I see something more than the sum of her parts. I've gone from sharing experiences with a real girlfriend to sharing experiences with a synthetic one. I guess I'm creating a synthetic family.